making his Super League debut in 2018. It might be 50 now. I can't remember if this was before or after they played last week. But EFC78JU said Mikhail Gudmand has not long ago signed a new contract to stay at Perpignan for 2 more seasons to play for Catalan Dragons. Most of us thought he was going to move on and not sign. Until today he signed so he can stay in France. Right. It never occurred to me that he might be moving on.
Always struck me as exactly the kind of player that Catalan needed to develop. So, and he's shown signs of promise, hasn't he? When he's got chances. Still young for a kind of a because he's been playing a bit of back row. But do you think he's
He sort of plays anywhere in the pack, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Kind of where you need him to play, and in the modern, faster 6-a-game game, I think he's fine as a prop as well as a back rower.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, when I've seen him, I've always been quite impressed. So yeah, it's a good re-signing for Catalan. And we have another Tom Lynham update. Just what we all needed from EFC78JU.
He's going to keep talking about it, and he knows that if he puts it on the form, we'll put it in, even though it's just speculation.
I just don't care about Tom Lynham. The Tom Lynham transfer different way. He was supposed to have his dream move to the Leeds Rhinos, but now it's gone the other way, literally down the other way down the road to Wakefield Trinity. We're in contract with him. Where will he end up at? Who cares?
As long as wherever he ends up at puts a gag on him, we'll be okay. Quite a few Super League news stories dropping today. Al, so Cast Tigers head coach Darryl Powell has said that they will need to finish in the top 6 if captain Michael Shenton is to have any chance of playing again this season. The 35-year-old suffered a fractured cheekbone in the defeat to Huddersfield last week. Shenton's deal with his hometown team is up at the end of the campaign, so who knows? Could be the last we've seen of Shenton in a Cash shirt. Hopefully not, but serious one there. Hull FC have signed winger Darnell McIntosh from Super League rivals Huddersfield on a 3-year deal. The 24-year-old, who has scored 47 tries since making his debut in 2017, will join the club for the 2022 season. He will take the spot of Brett Faremo, who Castleford Tigers have confirmed has signed a 2-year deal at the Menderhose Jungle. The winger, who began his career in the NRL with Parramatta and had a short spell with New Zealand Warriors, moved to Hull FC where he scored 40 tries in 18 matches during his 3-year spell there as the USA international. Anything on those moves, Al?
It'd be nice if Cass could sign a winger and he actually plays. And the Society Fekir mould, but as long as he plays a bit more than him, then I'm sure they'll be positive.
I mean, it's slightly worrying that Radford's already going for his big wingers who like to get sent off approach, but
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily, I wouldn't expect Radford to have massively changed his way of playing in his time out of the game.
And I don't think McIntosh, who's kind of a flashy player at times, who's still developing, I think, would have been a Radford signing, but I think he's got a lot of class and quality. I think Hull FC should be excited about that signing, and Huddersfield should be disappointed to lose one of the homegrown players of that calibre. Saints centre Kevin Nguama will leave the club at the end of the season to return home to Australia to spend time with his family. The 32-year-old joined the club ahead of the 2019 campaign. He's scored 35 tries in 68 games for the Saints and helped them win back-to-back Super League titles as well as the Challenge Cup. I think he's recently had a baby, so obviously wanting to focus on his family life back in his homeland.
Absolutely fair enough. Can't argue with that.
And Jack Sinfield, son of Leeds legend Kevin, has signed his first professional contract with the Rhinos. The 16-year-old halfback has signed a deal with the club in the same week that his father has left his position as director of rugby. Wonder where they found the money for it then. Kevin Sinfield won 7 grand finals and 2 Challenge Cups during his glittering playing career with Leeds. If Jack does half of that, he'll still be an outstanding player, won't he?
Well, what we don't know is if maybe his dad was blocking the move. Maybe he's had to wait for him to go. Honestly, there's enough there's enough to go at in father and son kind of combinations, isn't there? We've already had a quiz about that this year. There's plenty to go at when you look at it.
We've already had the Stones, haven't we? So
yeah, loads of them. Can't move from.
Anyway, let's move into the Championship.
Yep, so Championship side Featherstone Rovers have been docked 2 competition points and fined 10,000 after a breach of operational rules relating to indoor gatherings during the pandemic. Rovers were found to have held a gathering in March between players, which is in breach of national restrictions. Players that should have been isolating under the COVID-19 protocols then took part in April's 28-18 win over Batley. The RFL say they came to an agreed decision with Rovers. Featherstone Rovers are deeply disappointed with the RFL's outcome from its investigation into an alleged social gathering at the club in March of this year.
Alleged.
The club said in its own statement. The outcome is particularly disappointing given that the club have satisfied both West Yorkshire Police's investigation and a local authority hearing, both of whom conceded that the club had not knowingly been uncooperative.
Not with them two, but they fucking were with the RFL when they lied.
Yeah.
Oh, it was just Brett Ferris. No, you don't recognise anyone else, so it was just Brett Ferris. Fucking pricks.
The Yes, I think we know Mark's feelings. And anyway, the club stands by its duty of care to players and staff. Oh, this is an amazing statement. And the need to provide facilities as outlined in the HSE workplace guidelines. Throughout the coronavirus pandemic, the club has maintained a leading safety record. That's why you were riddled with COVID the week before the cup final. This is attributed to the hard work of both playing and on-field staff to ensure rigorous testing and good practices were in place. So then we go from the fantasy land to actual reality. Footage gathered by the police showed 12 players who took part in the win were present at the gathering from a total of 12. The penalty, 2 points, reflects the benefit Rovers gained by beating Batley, and the RFL believes the punishment also reflects the club's failure to properly comply with the law, operational rules and the RFL investigation. Featherstone have met the costs of the investigation.
But as long as their own fans buy into that bollock statement they put out of their own, then
absolute fucking clown shoes.
It'll all be about the RFL being against them. I'll tell you what, it's interesting that this only came out the week after they lost. I wonder if there was, that was to try and deflect from any nonsense about the RFL preferring one team over another or what have you. Why would they prefer a team that isn't a member of their organisation? I don't know, but but they've still managed to create a nonsense around it. What's alleged about it? There was fucking 20 odd guys in a room watching sports on a TV, drinking beer together.
Yeah, there's absolutely any sane, rational person would hold their hands up and say, you know what, we messed up, we got caught, and we should, take the punishment, because these were laws that applied to everybody in the country at this time.
Yep.
It was an absolute. You got to remember in March. You couldn't do anything. You couldn't meet people outside. You couldn't. A multitude of things that you were not allowed to do by law. And the club effectively took the piss and did exactly what they wanted to do. And frankly, 2 points isn't enough for me. They absolutely showed a massive disregard for just generally what was going on in the country at the time. And it tells me everything I need to know about Featherstone. So, absolute piss take of a club. And, yes.
Relegation threatened Championship club Swinton have parted company with Ireland head coach Stuart Littler. Littler, who was appointed as head coach after ending his playing career with the Lions in 2017, has paid the price for their disastrous start to the season, with the club bottom of the table without a win in 14 matches at the point when he left. Swinton say assistant coach Alan Coleman has agreed to take charge of first team affairs until the end of the season, when the position will be reviewed. I feel a bit for Littler. I think he's a good coach. I think Swinton are in a good club. I don't think, I just think it was poor fortune. They lost a lot of close games this year. That will have come down to them just not having as good a squad as other squads around them. I think I always wonder why clubs just then promote from within when they're looking for a change. But of course, it did lead to them grabbing a win at the weekend, so it's worked out.
I was going to
and
say
I'm pleased
that
for Swinton in that regard.
Yeah, the players didn't exactly do their old coach solid by going to win the next match, did they?
No, but it felt like a win was brewing for Swinton in any case.
Yeah,
yeah.
They've been so close.
I hope Little finds himself a job still in Rugby League, maybe an assistant at the Super League level or something like that to help develop himself a bit further, because I really do think he's got good potential as a coach. I personally think.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think some bad luck and just circumstances unfortunately meant he's. I understand why you remove a coach after that start. I mean, but it's very difficult. It's very
similar
difficult
to Lee, innit? They kind of had little choice, even though you felt it wasn't on the guy who was sacked why they were in the position they were in.
Exactly. Yeah.
And not necessarily on any one individual anyway, either, both those clubs.
No.
It's easier to change one man than try and change 30 or so, though.
You can't sack them all, can you? Promotion chasing Featherstone have made a statement of intent. That's one different kind of statement. By giving new deals to 6 key players. I wonder if all 6 were in the bar. Craig Kopchak, Brett Ferris, well, we know he was. John Davis and Connor Jones have signed an extension for another year at Rovers. Gareth Gale and Craig Hall have added 2 years to their existing deals, taken to the end of 2023.
And Craig Hall might have some competition for places, because promotion chasing Featherstone have signed Scotland fullback Alex Walker on loan from Wakefield for the rest of the championship season. 25-year-old joined Trinity from London ahead of the 2020 season, but has only made 1 appearance this year. Featherstone say under the terms of the agreement, Wakefield will not be able to recall Walker, who is out of contract at the end of the year. So, yeah.
Well, they obviously don't want to recall him because they wouldn't have signed the deal otherwise.
No, but they're busy sort of preparing for what, rumour has it, could be a Super League season next year for law-breaking Featherstone.
Yeah, wonderful. Just what you want. Barra Raiders have announced the signing of former Super League forward Jake Emmett for the remainder of the 2021 League One season. Emmett, 32, has made more than 250 career appearances across spells with St Helens, Cass Tigers, Salford, Lee, Swinton, Keighley and Toronto Wolfpack. He's also won 6 caps for Wales.
I think that's a good sign at League One level. Positive story. History will be made at Warrington's Victoria Park on Sunday the 15th of August. So that's in 2 Sundays' time, when the venue hosts Physical Disability Rugby League's first Lancashire versus Yorkshire Origin fixture. This will be the first PDRL match played under the code's new international rules, and in another first for the game following recent player classification sessions, PDRL will make its debut as a fully classified and internationally recognisable disability sport. So the Lancashire squad is mostly Warrington Wolves because, unlike the language of their men's team head coach, they are a very inclusive and progressive club most of the time. Mike Addison, Jamie Barnett, Tom Bayliss, all from Warrington, Peter Clark from Leeds, Wayne Cox, Adam Hills, Nathan Jezierski, Lewis Kennedy and Adam Morris, again all Warrington. Steve Mort from the Wigan Warriors, Stuart Ryder back at Warrington, Ben Seward from Wigan, Tony Seward, Barry Worley, Josh Whipday, again, or Warrington, and then Sam Zeller from the Leeds Rhinos, and they'll take on the Yorkshire squad made up of largely players from Leeds and Wakefield, I think, but quite a few Cass names too. Mick Colburn from Cass, Darren Dean, Alex Dickerson and Adam Fleming, who are all from Wakefield, Scott Gobbin from Leeds, Mark Gummerson from Cass, Nick Horner from Leeds, John Humphreys from Wakefield, Nick Kennedy from Cass, Connor Lyons, we all know Connor's story, bouncing back from his brain injury. Ben Nicholson and Callum Parkinson, who are all from Wakefield Trinity. Tommy Pouncey, Harvey Redmonds and Tom Sheridan, all from Leeds. Keenan Wilkes from Cass and Chris Young from Leeds. The Origin fixture itself is part of a Wolves Foundation-led regional PDRL festival, not LDRL. They're not ready for that yet. PDRL festival for North West teams, kicking off at 4:30 p.m. Lancashire versus Yorkshire will be the climax of a day of celebrations of inclusive rugby league. Meanwhile, similar learning disability rugby league